The problem is not that you forget. The problem is that you forget and think that it's normal. You wake up in the morning and the dream disappears before you even make it to the bathroom. You're in the middle of a conversation and the person's name simply won't come to you. You read an entire paragraph and can't repeat what was written. This is not mental laziness. It's not a lack of reading. It's not work-related stress. It's what happens when the brain spends the entire night without the right fuel to do its job. And here is the detail that changes everything. The brain does not rest while you sleep. It works. It cleans. It organizes. It reconnects what happened during the day and turns it into memory. If it doesn't have what it needs to do that work, the day simply doesn't get properly archived. You wake up, and part of yesterday is gone. Tell me in the comments right now where you live. I read all the comments, and I like knowing how far my videos are reaching. When you sleep, something happens in your brain. It's called the glymphatic system. It is the brain's cleaning mechanism. It only activates when you sleep, and it does two things at the same time. It removes toxic proteins that accumulate throughout the day and consolidates the memories you formed in the last few hours. When this system works well, you wake up with a clear mind. You remember what you need to remember. You think clearly. When it doesn't work well, the effect is cumulative. One day you forget where you put your keys. Then you forget the name of someone you've known for years. Then you start losing track of conversations halfway through. What prevents this system from functioning is not lack of sleep. It is lack of the right input at the right moment. And that moment is the half hour before you close your eyes. Now stop for a second, because this is where most videos get it wrong. They tell you to eat fish, to take omega-3, to exercise. All of that has value. But none of it works at the moment when the brain most needs support. The brain has a protective barrier called the blood-brain barrier. It filters what enters and what does not enter the nervous system. During the day, with metabolism accelerated and the body in a state of alertness, this barrier is extremely selective. Many things hit it and bounce back. At night, when metabolism slows down and the body enters restoration mode, this barrier relaxes. Certain compounds from foods cross much more easily. That's where the smoothie comes in. A specific combination of 4 foods that, together, create the internal environment the brain needs to do its job properly while you sleep. Now pay attention because I'm going to reveal each ingredient one by one. Full-fat coconut milk. It is the base of the smoothie, but it's not here just for texture. Coconut milk contains medium-chain triglycerides, compounds that the liver rapidly converts into ketones. And ketones are an alternative energy source that the brain uses more efficiently than glucose, especially during the overnight fast. When the brain has ketones available during the night, it doesn't need to interrupt the memory consolidation process to look for energy elsewhere. It keeps working. It's like keeping the engine running with clean fuel instead of letting it sputter in the dark. Half a cup, full fat, no added sugar. A ripe frozen banana, not cold, straight from the refrigerator, frozen and then slightly thawed. This process breaks down the fruit's fibers and releases compounds more easily during digestion. A ripe banana is one of the most bioavailable food sources of tryptophan, the amino acid that the body converts into serotonin and then into melatonin. But here's the detail that almost nobody mentions. Melatonin produced internally from dietary tryptophan has a different effect from the synthetic melatonin found in supplements. It doesn't sedate you, it deepens sleep, and it is during deep sleep that the glymphatic system operates at maximum capacity. 1 banana, ripe, frozen, straight into the blender, pure cocoa powder. No sugar, no alkalized processing, nothing added. Raw cocoa is one of the foods with the highest natural concentration of flavonoids that reach the brain. They cross the blood-brain barrier and act directly on the hippocampus, the region responsible for forming new memories and protecting against cognitive decline. Studies with populations that consume cocoa regularly show significantly greater neural connection density than populations without this habit. But cocoa has a second role in this formula that is less well known. It is a significant food source of magnesium. And magnesium directly regulates the brain receptors that the brain uses to consolidate memory during sleep. 1 full tablespoon. Pure, no substitutes. Saffron powder. The spice, not food coloring. It is added in a small amount, half a teaspoon, but with an impact far greater than the size of the dose. The active compound in true saffron, safranol, has a property that researchers have been studying for decades. It inhibits the enzyme that destroys acetylcholine in the brain. Acetylcholine is the main neurotransmitter of memory. It is what allows synapses to connect during the nighttime consolidation process. When this enzyme is inhibited, acetylcholine remains available longer. The memory recording process is completed more efficiently. And there's more. Saffron has direct anti-inflammatory effects on brain tissue. And chronic low-grade inflammation is one of the most studied causes of early cognitive decline, including the early stages of what may later become Alzheimer's disease. Half a teaspoon, every day, before bed. Half a cup of full-fat coconut milk. 1 ripe frozen banana. 1 tablespoon of pure cocoa powder. Half a teaspoon of saffron powder. Everything together in the blender for 40 seconds. The result is a dark, creamy smoothie, slightly sweet from the banana, with an aroma that blends cocoa with something deeper. You drink it slowly during the 30 minutes before bedtime. No bright screens afterward, no intense stimulation. Let the body begin the transition, and then you sleep. What happens over the next few hours is the process your brain was biologically designed to perform, but rarely has the ideal conditions to complete all the way through. The effect is not immediate. In the first week, you may notice deeper sleep, fewer awakenings in the middle of the night. In the second week, the difference begins to show up in the morning. You wake up with greater clarity. Words come faster. Your thinking flows without getting stuck. By the 4th week, the people around you will notice before you do. Because memory that returns does not arrive with fanfare. It simply stops failing, and that is when you realize how much it had been failing before. Alzheimer's does not begin when the diagnosis arrives. It begins silently, decades earlier, with small signs that everyone normalizes. The forgetfulness you are normalizing right now may be the beginning of something, or it may be the end of a period of poor care for your brain. The difference lies in what you do tonight, not tomorrow, not Monday, tonight. If you have someone you love who keeps forgetting things, a father, a mother, a grandparent, send them this video right now, not as curiosity, as genuine care. And tell me in the comments, do you live in a big city or in a rural area? And how long have you been noticing these signs of weak memory? I want to read every response.